Okay, so today we're diving into something, well, I think it's pretty incredible.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to be looking at what happened after the fire at Norlin Library
Right.
at CU Boulder back in February.
Uh-huh.
Um, you might remember hearing about it. It was a
Yeah.
busy Friday morning. Students were, studying and everything. And then
Right.
suddenly there's smoke.
Yeah. It's always a good reminder that the fire itself,
Right.
dramatic as it is, it's just the beginning, really.
Yeah.
The smoke damage is a whole other...
Oh, absolutely.
It gets into everything.
Yeah.
And it can be really dangerous. You can't just, reopen a library after something like that.
So that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
How do you clean up an entire library's air system?
Right.
That's where it gets really interesting.
Exactly.
We're not talking about dusting, a couple bookshelves.
Right.
This was like a full-on restoration.
And a full-on project, yeah.
Yeah.
They brought in Bees Air Duct Cleaning, which is a local company, but they also had ServPro Boulder come in.
Wow.
Which is actually the biggest ServPro franchise in the entire country.
Oh, wow.
So you can imagine the kind of resources that they have.
Yeah.
All the equipment and the size of the team. I mean, they were definitely prepared for a challenge like this.
Wow. Okay, so this wasn't just any cleaning crew.
No, not at all.
What exactly were they up against?
Whoa.
When I think library air system,
Right.
I picture some vents above the bookshelves. Is that...
It's much more complicated than that.
Okay.
We're talking about one main air handling unit.
Okay.
You can kind of think of it as the heart of the system.
Okay.
Then you have 27 VAV boxes, which are smaller lungs
Okay.
that distribute the air throughout the building.
Okay.
And each one of those has to be cleaned really carefully.
Wow.
And then on top of that,
Yep.
there's all the registers, the ductwork, the grills.
Yeah.
Smoke particles can get everywhere.
Okay, so these lungs are distributing potentially harmful air.
Exactly.
Definitely not something to mess around with.
No.
So how do you even clean a VAV box? What makes them so important to air quality?
A VAV box, or variable air volume box, basically controls how much air is flowing into a specific area.
Okay.
So they're responsible for keeping the temperature consistent,
Right.
but they also help filter out pollutants. So in this case, they had to get all of the smoke residue out of those boxes
Right.
to make sure that those particles wouldn't get back into the library.
Okay, so it's not just about, wiping up the soot that you can see.
Right.
It's about making sure those tiny invisible particles are gone, too.
Exactly.
That must have been a huge project.
It was. And keep in mind, the clock was ticking.
Right.
Every day that the library was closed
Yeah.
meant that students and staff couldn't use it.
Of course.
So it wasn't just about being thorough, it was about being fast, too.
Did they mention any, really difficult parts of the cleanup? You'd think that in a building that old,
Well, yeah.
there might be some surprises hiding in the ductwork.
Well, I did read an interview with one of the ServPro technicians.
Yeah.
And he said that they found a bird's nest in one of the VAV boxes.
Oh, wow.
Not really what you expect to find in a library.
Yeah, well-
But it just goes to show you the kind of unexpected challenges that they ran into.
Wow, a bird's nest.
Yeah.
That's a good story.
Uh-huh.
But in the end, they got everything cleaned up
They did.
and the library reopened.
Yeah, Norlin Library fully reopened on February 26th.
Wow.
So a little over 2 weeks after the fire.
That's amazing.
If you think about all the students who rely on that library,
Yeah.
getting it back open that quickly,
Yeah,
that's a huge win.
it is. And it really makes you think about all the work these companies do.
Absolutely.
We don't often think about air quality until there's a problem.
Right.
But this really shows how important those remediation efforts are.
It does. And it makes you wonder about other disasters that need this kind of specialized cleanup.
Oh, yeah.
Fires are one thing,
Right.
but what about floods,
Yeah.
chemical spills?
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about the work that goes into restoring those spaces?
I definitely take it for granted.
Yeah,
This deep dive has really been eye-opening.
for sure.
Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And we'll see you next time for another deep dive.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Bye.